This is Growing Your Firm, the podcast for ambitious accountants and firm owners who want to work smarter, grow faster, and lead better. Hey, Growing Your Firm community, David here. Really excited to be dropping some recordings from our prior Growing Your Firm Summit. We had over 600 people register for it. It was in December last year. We're doing another one this year, but we thought, wow, there was such great content. Let's share it with the Growing Your Firm community. So this is a special content drop of some of the sessions from the Growing Your Firm Summit. Enjoy. You felt like the Growing Your Firm co-host for like one of those years. It was like every 3 months.
Because I even interviewed you one year. That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we flipped it. Oh man. So this is going to be a blast. So this panel is all about bringing in, operators and talking about their journey, what they would double down on as if they would do it again, what they would avoid or refrain from doing if they had to do it again. So this is going to be super practical, very hands-on, very conversational. I would do a quick intro and we'll kind of get into it. But like just before I do, Michael, Jackie, Brandon, Mike, thanks for coming back onto the panel. I feel like you all you need some Growing Your Firm swag at some point. If we ever make the Growing Your Firm swag, you will get some. And I'm open to ideas on what that should be. I don't know, what's what do you got, Mike?
So I've got a place that makes hats. I'll send you a picture of a hat I made recently.
I was going to say, get a hat with all of the panelists on it, and we would be so happy, to wear it for one another. Maybe not Brandon. Brandon, are you down? I don't know.
He's like, I got a hat. No. He's like, I already own a hat.
I made a hat with Michael Lee's face on it. It's amazing. It's a leather patch, and it's got him in his Elvis.
That's Chow's hat. That's not me. That's Chow.
I think the only appropriate swag that just came to mind, bombers jackets. Those bomber jackets, maybe
I like that.
Maybe with some glitter on it. I don't know. You really would stand out. Anyways, we're kicking this session off with something special. The 7-Figure Founders Panel. This group represents what it really takes to build, scale, and sustain thriving firms, not just the wins, but the hard lessons and the mindset shift behind them. First up, Michael Lee, a leader who's built multiple successful businesses and believes growth comes from staying human first. And he's also a proud Taco Bell super fan. Then there's Mike Payne. He's a founder and CEO who juggles 5 kids, 2 dogs, a cat, and 4 baby tortoises. There might be a story there. I don't know. If that's not a masterclass in balance, I don't know what is. We also got Dr. Jackie Meyer, who brings heart and strategy together in a few ways others can. And also, fun fact, she's actually, and I don't believe it. I'm going to read it, but I don't believe it. She's actually an extreme introvert, even though you'd never know it from the stage. So this is apparently true. This is I'm just a monkey on stage. I just read what I'm told, even though if I don't believe it. And then rounding out the panel, Brandon Hall, who channels his love for precision and creativity into everything he does, including making incredible Neapolitan pizzas from scratch. So bombers jackets plus pizza sounds like it's going to happen. All right, so this is going to be a very conversational panel, if you can kind of feel the vibe of what's going on. So I have a couple questions to kick things off. I'm going to insert your most famous point guard. I don't know basketball very well, but you can mention it.
Clearly, Steve Nash.
Steve Nash, great. I'll be Steve Nash. I think he also invests in startups, so that's a fun one. And then we're going to really try to take as many questions as possible. And we're gonna ping pong around. I'm gonna start with something that I want kind of everybody to answer. And I hate to go negative at the beginning because we just talked about Taco Bell and baby turtles. But if there was one thing, if you think back in your journey of growing your firm, what's the one thing you would not do again? Like what was that pothole you stepped into and you're like, oh, that's because I was doing this for the first time and I didn't know what that was, right? So I saw Jackie nodding. And so as our resident introvert, Jackie, do you want to kick things off and then we'll pass the ball around?
Yeah. I mean, what immediately came to mind is very simple, but extremely powerful, which is saying yes to too many things. So you have to set boundaries and you have to say no to things. Even if it doesn't feel great, people will respect you more for it. If you protect your time and boundaries. And if you're not good at that yourself, hire an assistant, contractor, or whatever, if you're solopreneur, that's going to help you do that. Because I got myself into a whirlwind of too much activity this week because, I fell off the wagon, right? And so it's a constant battle, but you've got to say no to things that don't feel right.
And these are projects, clients, or any?
Oh, yeah, all of the above. All
Okay.
of the above. Yeah.
Yeah, the more successful you become, the more opportunities surface. So I imagine this is only harder as you
Yeah.
grow. Michael, how about for you?
Yeah, I can elaborate more on that. If I were to look back during our highest growth period of the business, I let another business venture I was really excited about that I wanted to launch distract me.
Mm.
And even though it was a great opportunity, it was a lot of fun, it was a big distraction. And it kept my eye off the ball during our biggest growth period at Reconciled. And it also was the time in which the largest mistakes were made by my leadership team, by employees, and the most broken relationships came out of that period as well. It's because my eyes were off the ball. And so I own that. I've always owned that. And I would not have let, just like Jackie said, there's just a lot of great distractions. And when you're at the height of leadership or when you're at the height of growth or success, a lot more things come along and you've got to decide what's excellent versus great versus good. None of it's bad. All of it's actually good, but
Mhm.
what's actually going to move the needle on keeping the thing that is the most important to you sustaining and thriving and growing. And distractions are the worst, especially for individuals that have ADD or ADHD or who deal with a lot of invitations to do things. I let distractions get in the way.
Yeah, well said. Just to double click on that really quick, Michael, if you're looking back and you see this promising new venture, do you think the answer would have been to not launch it at all, or hire a CEO to run it sooner, or hire a CEO for Reconcile? Like, what would you have done differently?
I think I would not have taken the time to do it
Okay, in the
at all.
first
And I
place,
would
yeah.
I would have said, look, this is like a significant growth period for Reconciled. I need heads down focus and to not let these great invitations distract me or these great opportunities distract me. Even though it was fun, even though I was super excited about it, it really at the end of the day, it bit me in the butt on the most important venture I had in my life, which is Reconciled.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Brandon, what does that look like for you in your journey?
Um, I would have hired higher quality and more expensive technical people sooner or first. Um, my first hire was a salesperson, so I had the unique, like a different kind of experience in that. I was pretty heavily involved in a real estate community called Bigger Pockets, an online community, and I was like one of the first movers in that community. It was like me and one other accountant, so just a lot of inbound lead flow and traffic. And so I made the decision to do the technical work and hire a salesperson. And I should have done the sales and hired the technical person. But with me doing the technical work, my theory was that, well, I'll build the team out beneath me. And so that led to hiring relatively inexpensive talent. So like associate level, senior associate level. And in retrospect, what I've learned is that going downstream and hiring that type of talent is key to margin protection over time. But it comes at a cost, and the cost is your time. I should have hired like a senior tax manager or a tax manager for 150,000 bucks. Senior tax manager for 180, 190, and said, "You go build the team and do all the work, and I'm going to do the sales." I didn't have that insight at that point. So I made the wrong decision, and that probably cost me multiple years of pain that I did not need to undergo in retrospect. At the time, I didn't have the cash flow, so that's what we all do, right? Like I run a
Mhm.
community of accountants, and that's what I educate them on too. That's what they all do is they hire the intern because the intern costs $18 an hour. And I don't want to hire the senior tax associate for $95,000 that has benefits and all this other stuff because I don't have the cash flow. But the question is, if you can hire that more technical person that can come in and immediately take things off of your plate and run things like run workflow, run pieces of the client relationship, what time does that open up for you, and what can you do with that time, and how long does it take you to get back to break even? Because a lot of us think like $150,000 tax manager costs $150,000 plus benefits and all that stuff, but in reality, it costs 3 months. Like, what is the 3 month cost? And in 3 months, what can I do with that excess time that I've now opened up? Can I get back to break even? If I go market, sell, And so that was the mistake that I made, and that I see a lot of people making too, is just hiring downstream because we're trying to protect our own cash flow. But what we're giving up is our time. We've got to train them, we've got to monitor them, we've got to hold them accountable, we have to lead them. It's just very costly at the end of the day to do that.
Yeah, and it felt so important when you're looking back. I mean, in your case, you had such a rich inbound channel, right? So you probably had high confidence. Well, the sales are coming, right?
Yeah.
You know, so in hindsight, you could have projected that out. Um, that makes sense. Mike, what does that look like for you?
Oh gosh, David, I've made every possible mistake, and so I've got a lot of answers here. I think the theme we're seeing here is learning when to say no and having the discipline to say no. My one thing that because we all have limited resources, right? Time, money, and I think most importantly, attention, like Michael mentioned. I think one thing that I really did wrong when I started was undervaluing my services and my expertise, and so as a result, I gave low fee quotes. My pricing was way lower than it should have been, probably about a third of what it should have been, considering the experience
Wow.
I had. And I just think every accountant on this webinar needs to understand that you are worth more than you think, and you need to price your services based on the market, not based on any sort of metric on what you want to make or years of experience, what you've built in the prior firm. Research the market, use these resources. Brandon's got a community. Jason Stats has a community that I belong to. Every accountant is so willing to give you so much information. Brandon was my mentor for a while. And during that time, he just opened his playbook for me. And we probably cut a year off of our progress by just asking him questions and poking and prodding. He just told us everything that he did. And we just kind of followed suit and worked great.
What was the number one thing that elevated your business from Brandon's mentorship? Was it tripling your prices? I mean, that sounds like pretty impactful, or were there other items?
No, it was actually putting in metrics, holding our team accountable. He's really big on that, and he's got a really good system. And I don't know what it looks like now, Brandon, but I know at the time that was something that I kind of the environment that we fostered really was generated an employee mentality because it was a set compensation. And anytime you don't have any skin in the game or you don't have any upside, the natural man is going to do the minimum amount of work possible to earn that compensation. And so, eventually we put in metrics, figured out what was the most important thing for each person to be focusing on for the firm, and then incentivize them to do those things, financially and otherwise. And once we moved to production, basically production-based compensation, we saw like a double, our production productivity, but doubled basically.
I love that. We'll pass it around one more time, kind of on that. But Brandon, can you unpack what's production based management look like? Can you kind of unpack what you've kind of you know done in your own firm and what you've promoted in your community as ways to hold the team accountable?
Yeah, so we ran a production-based environment for a very long time. We've since walked most of it back, and then now we're having conversations on like pieces of the firm where we still want to run production-based. Production-based is great because what you're doing is you're empowering the employee to earn what they want to earn. It for me, the reason that I switched to this at the beginning, so the beginning, I like the first like I don't know, 12, 24 months, I was just kind of like making stuff up on the go. And once I kind of figured out my pricing, figured out the service delivery model, I realized, hey, if I can just, what I don't want to do is have to have a ton of performance conversations at the end of the year and haggle with people. I don't have time for that. I don't know how to do it. I'm not good at it at the time. So I'm going to switch to a production-based environment where you get paid on the output, and this is the output. Revenue is the output for the most part, and that worked really well because it helps people understand, hey, if I do the extra thing, whatever it is, then I get paid a little bit more money. The downfall of the production-based environment was once we reached a certain point of scale, we really needed more collaboration and teamwork from our folks. And production-based environments do not incentivize. They incentivize a lot of sole producers. They do not incentivize team players. It's a disincentive to take time away from producing and go help somebody else. And that really backfired for us. So we walked it all back probably about 18 months ago. but now we do have sole producers throughout the firm, and so we're looking at kind of re-implementing it with some guardrails along those lines. But I would do it again 100%. It got me to like $3 million, I think, in revenue, relatively simply. It made the conversation super, super simple. People would come to me, I need to make more money. Like, you know how to make more money. So go do the more of the output. Like that's how you make more money at this firm. And that really simplified the performance management for me, the personnel management for me for a while, which is great. And it helped me kind of learn how to have those conversations and deal with objections and stuff like that. So yeah, I would do it again. It was great.
Final question there. Post, now that you're in this place where you kind of in some ways moved beyond it, what are the key metrics? What are 2 or 3 key metrics you're thinking about or that you manage around team accountability?
For me,
Yeah, for you.
deadlines.
Are they met?
What's that?
Is it deadlines? Are they met? Like, did you meet the deadline?
Exactly. Yeah. What percentage of deadlines are met? And we've got a firm-wide tracker. Everybody can see where they stand. And that's going to be the number one metric going forward. And the number 2 metric is going to be client retention and cross-selling. So are you taking advantage of opportunity? Are you identifying opportunities, and are you connecting them with the right people in the firm to take advantage of those opportunities? Those are the 2 things. We ran NPS, and our NPS surveys are like phenomenal. All the clients are like, this is great. But what we found is that doesn't actually translate to retention. You could have a great client that's like, that was a great experience, and now I'm going to go back and work with my $700 a year CPA because they're super cheap, and that's great. That's what I want to do. So that doesn't actually help us. So those are the metrics going forward: is deadlines and client retention.
I love that. As we kind of talk about these inflection points, I guess, to shift, right? So we talked about things that we don't want to fall into again. Now let's talk about maybe decisions made that caused us to reach an important inflection point in our growth. Maybe it was a hire, maybe it was a new growth channel, maybe it was something else. I'm curious, like Jackie, in your journey, what was like an inflection point? You made a decision that really kind of created outsized growth, whether that's top line profitability or time off. What was the key moment for you?
Well, what's cool is that, like, going back through the series of interviews that we've done on your podcast, we can actually deep dive into each of those moments together, which is pretty cool. But um, I essentially hit burnout and my health was suffering. And so I was kind of forced to stop being a workaholic and being a control freak and trying to do all the work myself, as everyone's been talking about, and let it go. And so I went to my business coach and I said, hey, I can't do this anymore like this. And he asked me what clients that I like working with and why. And we completely transitioned the firm into niching down to tax advisory, leading with tax advisory, not taking a client that we couldn't do tax advisory on, value pricing that work, which is a significant factor in all of this. And then going from there to create packages and convert every client over. And that tripled my firm. It took my time down to 4 hours a week, which, is hard to imagine in an accounting firm environment. But I also want to go back to metrics in a little bit if we have time, because I have more to say about that.
Go ahead. We're here before we
okay.
jump over to Michael. I don't want you to lose the thought, so go for it.
Someone in the chat said, how do you decide what to say yes to and what is a distraction? And at the end of the day, everything is measurable, which I know talking to accountants is like a really cool thing to say, but literally it is. Measure everything. Measure the ROI, the return on investment that you're getting in the different activities you do. I like to calculate actual hourly value. If you take your net income on your P&L before you pay yourself and divide it by the number of hours you worked in the year or the month or whatever period, you'll see you're probably making $30 an hour when you're charging at least $200 an hour on the outside because you're doing 2 low value tasks. And so that's how you decide. It becomes very clear to you who to hire, where to plug them in. And it gives you that confidence when we're all like, we don't have the cash flow to be like, this is an investment, right? This is an investment in them. It's an investment in me. And it's going to like triple things from here.
Yeah, I love that. And it, a kind of open item. If you see questions, anybody on the panel, you see questions like that, I want to talk about that one. We'll pluck it right. We're just going to have as much fun as possible. So if you see one that really lights you up, let's just dive into it. Michael, what was it?
Can I actually
Go ahead.
comment on some of the chats going on right now?
I'm gonna hand it over to Michael, and then we'll start going through the
Okay, cool.
chats.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So, Michael, what was an inflection point in your firm journey that, like, this decision helped kind of, again, grow either your personal time back or top line or profitability?
Yeah, there's probably two primary ones. The first one, and I think a lot of accountants relate to this, is what are you building? And so when I first started building Reconciled, I made the decision I'm not building a service where Michael is the service provider or even the primary service provider. And most accountants start with the identity of I'm the service provider. I'm going to be the primary one and I'm the best one. That's what their minds say. And the reality is if you're trying to build a job for yourself that, maximizes and fills up your time, that's a great strategy to have that mindset. But otherwise, if you want to build a business and a firm that's bigger than yourself that has a brand and identity and is sellable in the future, you're building something bigger and you're building a service that your firm is serving, not yourself is serving. And so I started with the mentality is this is not about selling Michael as a service. That's not what I'm trying to sell. And then the second one was I'm going to, in every single role that I function in as a leader, I'm going to look at the role, systematize what I do, record, document, systemize what I do that I think is effective. And then I'm going to hire somebody better, smarter, faster, more efficient in that role. And so I started off with managing bookkeepers, right? First, the bookkeeping tasks, get the bookkeeping tasks on my hands, managing the bookkeepers, hire that person, then eventually the HR person, get that person involved, and then eventually sales. Sales was like the top last task that I replaced myself on, and I knew that there was going to be some salesperson out there with or without an accounting background that could sell better than me, and that's eventually what I did, and that was super helpful in allowing myself to go, I am not the smartest person in the room. I'm not going to be even the best service provider in the room. I'm going to hire better people. And that really freed me to not feel like, well, I've got to be there for every client. And I think that's like a feeling that almost every good or even accounting professional feels is, well, I'm the one that sold them, so therefore I'm the one that has to service them. And that's just not true. That's just not reality. If you want to grow a firm, you have to get out of the way and let your people do their best. And frankly, most of the people you're going to hire are probably going to be smarter and better than you. I'm just going to be honest. At least that was the case for me. And so that's what's given me a lot of freedom today and for the past several years of literally not having to be involved really with anything in the firm because they're the ones handling it. And I'm only involved in the highest critical level decisions being made at the firm. And so that was super helpful and a great inflection point for us.
I love that. Really quick follow up. What's an example of the decisions you're making today? Where do you get pulled into on, or what do you feel is like the best? What's an example of the best use of your time in the firm today?
Yeah, so there might be, for example, and all of us, all the people on the panel have dealt with this, is if there's a large distribution opportunity, a go-to-market distribution opportunity. So, if Brandon gets a call from Bigger Pockets directly and says, hey, we want to highlight and showcase your firm and all your capabilities and build a referral partnership. Or for myself, if there's an e-commerce channel partner that is huge and they want a exclusive partnership deal, that's the kind of thing I would get involved with. Or if there's a significant hiring decision, right? If it's going to be a key role and we want to, replace the COO or the head of sales or the head of advisory, those are obviously culture decision, leadership decisions that I want to be able to be involved with. But from a day-to-day perspective, if I don't open Slack, if I don't open my email, the week goes by, everything's fine with the firm. But that decision's only those opportunities only are able to be made is when you let go and you let your leaders and your team members actually use their strengths and run the firm for you.
I love that. I love that. Well said. Brandon, which comment was standing out for you, or was it around the price increase thread? I guess what's really igniting for you?
Just about the price increase thread. I've got two comments. One, you don't have to explain a price increase.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to try to tie it to value. You don't have to do any of that. You just increase the prices. And the second comment is if you're scared to increase the price because you're scared to lose clients, then you have a sales problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you had, let me put it to you this way. If you had if you were onboarding 20 new clients a month, which I don't know how big the firms are here, but scale it up and down with the firm size, but don't scale it lower than 20 new clients a month. Okay. So if you were bringing on 20 new clients a month, I highly, highly doubt you would be concerned about raising prices. So you have a sales problem. So the question is, how do you solve the sales problem? It's not an operations problem. It's not a pricing problem. It's a sales problem. And that's the question. How do you solve the sales problem?
It's funny because I had at the top here, talk about more sales and more leads. I've talked to so many firms that really have this feast or famine pipeline. So they might unlock a pocket of referrals locally or through the industry specific, and all of a sudden they get 10, 15, 20 clients, and then 5 months go by and it's like it just trickles in. So, sometimes when you all are talking about making these important hires and it's based off of like cash flow, if you don't have a predictable pipeline, this is like extra scary, right? So I guess what are kind of the first steps to building a predictable pipeline so you can maybe have this reassurance in some of the hires you need to make or some of the price increases that you want to do?
So I'll go. We did this year for the first time. We went on offense instead of just waiting for the phone to ring. And the thing is, we all have a ringing telephone. It'll never stop ringing. We've got referrals upon referrals. I don't know, fourth, fifth, sixth generation referrals. Those will never stop. Those calls will never stop coming in. But the challenge is a lot of times those are not qualified clients, right? And so the phone rings. We have a sales guy now. Um, without qualifying those clients ahead of time, I would say half of those calls are a waste of time because they're not the target clients we want to work with. And so the reasoning for us going on offense and starting to make some marketing and outreach and business development efforts is so that we can look for qualified clients. And so foundationally, we brought our guy in. We started him with a higher base salary, and he'll be moving to higher commission over time. But basically, we built out a CRM for the first time, a newsletter, a real sales process, an actual sales process with the funnel. And now we're doing paid ads on Facebook and Instagram. We pay for leads from bigger pockets. And those are kind of some of the things we're doing now. We're seeing more and more of the Jackie type clients coming in, where we're doing a lot of work on the advisory piece. Usually the advisory fees outweigh the subscription fee, like 3-to-1 ballpark. And so that's what we've done. We're not great at it yet, to be honest. We're figuring it out as we go. But we've already seen some good ROI from that.
Yeah, I love that. And thanks for talking about the specific channels and even the hires that you're making in the investment. I mean, it just shows that you're putting real dollars into building the pipeline. Um, I guess we'll go around the horn talking about what lead strategies have worked for building the pipeline. Um, Anybody want to hop in next, or we can kind of volunteer around the horn?
I've got a few comments. First, Jessica in the chat said, I knew this was going to be a response to what Brandon said because I've worked with so many accountants, but it's like, I'm a sole owner, no intent to hire, 10 clients at my max with workload, but revenue is still lower than I'd like. I'm sorry to tell you, Jessica, you're not going to get to 7 figures on your own. You have to hire, but also go online. If you're in a small town, get clients from other areas. For what I did was before I even lived in an affluent area, I got my business address in an affluent area, and people will find you on Google Maps still in affluent areas to do that. And then we had a wait list. No matter if we were open to new clients or not, every single prospect that reached out based on just seeing us on literally Google Maps or simple things like that, or a mail out or whatever, they would get the same standardized response from my assistant without me even knowing about it yet. That's like, hey, we have a wait list. Send us XYZ and we'll let you know as soon as we have availability to help you. Do you know how much that weight lifts off your shoulder in the middle of busy season when you know that people aren't expecting things from you? So those are my best tips for that.
And
Yeah,
my thoughts on this specifically, Jessica said, I'm sole owner, no intent to hire, 10 clients my max. Still have a sales problem. If you can't raise your prices and earn what you want to earn, you have a sales problem. And it doesn't matter if 10 clients is your max and you are at max. Like, still imagine if you spent time every day or every week, but consistently spent time trying to develop business with whatever sales channel, right? Like, I'm big into digital. Mike mentioned a lot of digital channels, but there's physical channels too. You could do luncheons and go to all the meetups and stuff. Like, you don't have to just do digital, especially if you are local and that's where you want to play. That's fine. But the key is to always have people calling you and trying to work with you, because when that inbound demand comes, you can start increasing your prices, and maybe you can't increase the prices on one of your 10 clients or any of your 10 clients because they will leave, and it'll be a 10% haircut for you, and that's not good. But if you had somebody else that was like, hey, like I'll pay 20% more to come work with you because I've seen you show up here, here, and here, and I trust you, and you're smart, and you're better than my accountant. So yeah, I'll pay a little bit more. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, client number 9, you either pay 20% more or you're out. And so you still have a sales problem. That's my point, is that sales solves everything. Everything else is downstream of sales. If you don't have a sales pipeline, you will struggle no matter what. It doesn't matter if you want to be a single firm owner, not hire anybody else, or if you're trying to scale to $1 million plus, you have to figure out sales. You always have to have people calling you that are high quality leads that will pay more than what your clients are paying right now. And the only way to do that is to go out and generate that demand by showing up, networking, running presentations, basically showing off how smart you are technically.
Yeah, and Brandon, I don't know if there's if I'm reading the point correctly, but it sounds like if you were building that pipeline and you had new clients coming in paying you 20% higher, and you got, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 more clients, it really does then build the confidence back into you can withstand the potential cash downfall because you've been pricing new clients higher,
What
right?
we're talking about here is leverage. That's what we're talking about, right? If I have 10 clients that are all paying me $10,000, but then a new client wants to pay me 15,000, all of a sudden I have leverage in the conversation with any of my 10 clients. I can go to them and say, look, I really love working with you. The price is now 15,000. Do you want to accept that or not? I don't even have to have a further conversation. I don't have to justify my price increase because this other person is sitting right there ready to sign. That's leverage, right? And that's what we're trying to create as business owners. We're always trying to create leverage, always. And so if you have strong sales, you have a lot of leverage over pricing, the type of clients you work with, the scope of services you deliver. Like you just gain a ton of leverage in that process.
So for
I love that.
Jessica, focus on one waitlist client per week instead of 20, right? So it's just about changing the volume size is what he's saying.
Yeah, I love this, and we have a question coming in. I want to chat about the one that Tanya just submitted. By the way, this is the great thing about the panel. I mean, this is like free advice. Come on a Thursday morning. How cool is this from people that have been there, done that? Really quick, Michael, what were the key channels for you for building leads? Early on, or even recently, whatever channel you want to talk about.
Yeah, so I like what Brandon said. It's a sales problem at every level, but there is a different strategy at the different sizes you're at. And one of the big reasons is the bigger you get, just a reminder for everybody watching, this is a 7-figure founders panel, not a 6 figures and not a 10 figures, right? This is 7. But even at 7, $1 million to $2 million firm has different strategies and needs a different size of leads versus a $5 million firm that's going to 10. And if you want to consistently add, if your goal is to consistently add $500,000 to $1 million a year of additional net new ARR, which I know Brandon's very familiar with, Mike, Jack, we're all very familiar with, a lot of the attendees aren't familiar with, right? And so a lot of the strategies we have allow us to really exponentially grow our revenue and ARR every single year and add net new. But as you get bigger, you need a bigger funnel to replace just natural churn, because your percentage of churn gets higher in quantity, right? Not necessarily in percentage, just the quantity amount gets higher. So you have to replace it with new clients. And that's just natural. So when we first started out, what most of the firm owners that I coach and talk to is they haven't even exhausted their natural network, right? If you can't get your own friends and family to share the fact that if you can't share that you're excited that you've started a firm or you're building a firm, that you're an accountant and that you're trying to do this thing, if your friends and family can't get excited with you, or you haven't even told them about it and reminded them, this is what I'm trying to do and build, use your natural network, right? Use your network. So when I started out with Reconcile, I shared it on my LinkedIn, my social media, and I made sure to take somebody new out every single week for coffee or lunch to just share. This is what I'm building. You could be a client, or you might know people that could be clients. So you got to start there. And that's probably for most of the audience who are under that 7 figures. They've got to exhaust their natural network for sure and make sure that they have these free salespeople that are in front of them. And then what I unlocked early on, and this is back in 2016, 17, is we were heavy into outbound email marketing. And we were one of the first using the platform that we did, GrowBots. We were one of the first to use them for outbound email marketing as an accounting firm. And that grew us well into multiple millions just using that channel of email marketing. Probably ended up being 70% of our closed deals came from cold email outreach. So that literally is somebody we've never met receiving an email. Do you need a bookkeeper? Do you need a CFO? Do you need an accountant? And then responding to it. That worked for a long time. Email marketing pretty much came to a halt when generative AI came out. And now everyone's battling email marketing and spam bots and stuff like that. So then we had a shift to content creation, more podcasts, more webinars, more getting content out there, and what you would call content marketing, and focusing on inbound and referrals. But those are kind of the channels. But as you get bigger, again, you're going to have to diversify out, and also grow the funnel at the top if you want to continue to grow and replace churn as you grow.
Yeah, well said. I think we're going to take a couple more questions as we wrap up the panel. We have maybe about 7-ish minutes left. Tanya and somebody wanted to double click on it as well, but Tanya had this question: recommendations for building out tax and advisory services. We are a bookkeeping firm losing clients to all-in-one firms, and I can't remember who. Oh, somebody said. Oh, Jessica said we are seeing the same thing as Tanya. So anybody want to kind of take an initial stab at this?
I think it depends on your goals. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? The best way to do it, in my opinion, is going to be to either buy a tax firm or to partner with a tax advisory firm. It's gonna be one of those two. Like, building that from scratch, if you've been focused on bookkeeping, is going to be very challenging. Just from a technical component, but also from a marketability component. Convincing clients that you're capable will be hard. And so how do you accomplish that? Well, you have to charge lower fees to compete. And you probably have to do that for 2 years, but as you build up the outcomes that are marketable, and then you can really start competing. So partnering or buying just cuts that time down significantly.
How would somebody make that decision between partnering versus buying?
I think it depends on your goals, depends on your size. I would not buy like anything less than $1 million. I don't know how big the firms are here, but you buy something less than $1 million, and that owner has to be involved perpetually. So you're kind of partnering anyway. The systems are not going to be sophisticated. You're going to have a lot of challenges just on the integration. So partnering might be a better option, but I just think it depends on the capital access that you have, and your ability to strike a good partnership deal.
Yeah, makes sense. Anybody else have some thoughts on kind of how to compete against the all-in-ones if you're the bookkeeping focused firm?
Yeah, I like what Brandon said. I don't believe being an all-in-one or being just a sole bookkeeping firm necessarily means you're better or worse. It really is a focus of what's your go-to-market strategy and how do you differentiate yourself? What's your unique value proposition? And so, to Brandon's point, finding a tax-only firm or a tax and only an advisory firm that has really great tax strategists and tax planning, that's small, that you can work with, and you can be referring clients back and forth. That's going to be a great go-to-market opportunity for you. And a lot of the times that just means, hey, bookkeeper, get on the phone, get on Google Maps, find a good tax planning, tax strategy firm around your town that's doing similar revenue or similar size as you, that doesn't want to get into the bookkeeping game. There are plenty of tax firms that don't want to touch bookkeeping. And so find that. And that way you don't have to have the headache or the stress and I've done this. I went and bought, I bought a majority, I've been buying majority bookkeeping firms with small tax practices. Even the small component of tax in there, it's just not in my wheelhouse. I don't have a tax background. I'm not a CPA, right? I'm not a tax enrolled agent. And so the intimidation of trying to scale something in tax is very hard for me. But the only way I'm able to keep it going is because I have a tax manager, tax director that I trust and is really good at it. But if he left, I probably wouldn't have the tax practice. I'm gonna be very, very honest. And I would go find a tax practice to partner with. And so I really liked what Brandon said. It makes a lot more sense. And unless you have that background and confidence to scale it, it's going to be very, very difficult to run on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. Victoria has a unique question, and I'm not sure who to throw the ball over to. So people can jump in depending on your context or thoughts on this. She mentioned that her parents are co-CEOs in the business, and they have different leadership styles, and she wants to know how she can manage up, regardless of them being family members. So
That's
manage.
like a one-on-one 4-hour coaching session right there. Like, I don't know if we're gonna be able to solve that.
I have one thought. It's 4 words. You can't change people. It's that's a very challenging problem. It just people won't change at that level. So you have to
Buy
work
him
around
out, get rid of him.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah, or I'd figure out some sort of transition plan. Yeah, that's. I mean, objectively, if you have a CEO that's very hands-on and always getting into the weeds, they're a bad CEO. They can't delegate, they can't lead, they can't get the governance in place that they need to get the structured reporting so they can focus on the growth opportunities. And that's something we all figure out as we hit various growth milestones. But like that's what's ultimately needed is the CEO focused on growth all the time and letting fulfillment figure it out. So the more involved they are, the worse the firm's going to be growing. And objectively, they should be removed from that position. How do you tell mom or dad that? Your guess is as good as mine. I've never been in that position.
Merry
Actually, I
Christmas.
am in that position. I have a partnership with my parents where we went 50-50 on a real estate portfolio, and my dad is super hands-on, and I am a super hands-off type of person. And my dad, so my solution was, hey, let's all put $50,000 more in, me and then them, and we'll hire the team to rehab all there are 20 units that we had to rehab all the units will be done in 8 months. And my parents were like, well, dad can do it. And it's been 4 years. And we're still working on it. And so I finally just gave up and just let them handle it. But what I told them was I'm not putting any more money in because that was my solution at the beginning. And now I don't want to do this anymore. So I don't know. That's tough. What I learned is don't get into business with the family. So unless you have control, that's the key. Get in
Right.
control. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which probably is not very helpful. So sorry.
Well, I think succession planning and thinking about what that looks like and starting to have early conversations, depending on the level of openness and transparency around something as sensitive as succession. But I think at least, probably starting to have that conversation. I would agree managing up can be quite hard. It's not impossible. Marshall, I think Goldberg has a book. I think he wrote this book. What got you here won't get you there. And he's also written a bit about managing up. I'm not a managing up expert, as like we're all kind of owners on here. So maybe our team will think about this at times. So it's a little bit hard to give specifics, but I think the concept of depending on the life cycle of the firm and where you're at in your journey, starting to have that conversation could be very important.
Yeah, I think
For
managing
sure.
up in general is hard, and when it's parents, like I don't know. I think you're probably right, David. Is you should start succession planning. You know what? Victoria, you could. There are consultants out there that specialize in succession planning. It might be worth getting somebody in to facilitate the
Yeah,
conversations
have that
and really start
mediator.
that process. Yeah.
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 Well, speaking of succession, this is actually my never before seen book that I've literally have not released yet. But there's a whole section on succession, but there's about it goes from starting your firm to growing your firm into 7 figures and then succession. And I'd actually be happy to give away a couple of the books to some of your attendees, Dave. But yeah, succession is important, but I think we have to circle back to the advisory thing because I work with 1,200 people that do tax advisory, and we started it out by thinking there were enough people already doing it, and there weren't. And so we had to completely revamp my software and the way that we targeted people to bring people like bookkeepers over to tax advisory. And it's actually been very successful. So if you have the means, if you have that detective vibe where you're like, I got to figure this out for my clients, I love finding tax savings, anyone can move into that. And you need to niche down. If to see what those all-in-one firms are doing, niche down in what they can't do well, right? And tax advisory solved all of my problems. So I have to throw it out there.
I love it. I love it. Let's wrap it up, and we will take you up on the book giveaway. Any giveaway, we say yes to. We'll add it to. We already have 6 giveaways. We'll add a 7th, 8th, and 9th if we need to. Really quick, as we wrap up, what's the best way for our community to connect with you? We'll go Jackie, Brandon, Michael, Mike.
LinkedIn. Y'all will see me post a video of 5 minutes before this session and now. And the things you have to say no to is even fixing your hair every day. And there's some female founder tips and tricks. Don't wear a Snuggie. So yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn, Dr. Jackie CPA, and I'd love to see you there.
I love it. I love it. Brandon, how can the community connect with you?
Also LinkedIn. That's gonna be the best place. Or Twitter sometimes. I was posting a lot and then stopped, but I don't know. I might pick it up again. But Twitter or X or LinkedIn.
Love it. LinkedIn, the water's warm. Everybody's on LinkedIn these days. I love it. Michael, how about you?
LinkedIn, or come to Vermont or Scottsdale and hang out with me. Either one of those places is great. I'm in both places a lot, so.
All right. I love it. Mike.
Yeah, LinkedIn's best. Actually, one of the things I was going to point out is I have an assistant who checks my email. I'm rarely in my email.
Yes.
She tells me what to work on, and that's what I do.
Yes.
So if you're emailing me, it's likely to get addressed by someone on my team before it gets to me, which is the point. And so with LinkedIn, I also have somebody monitoring my LinkedIn, I'll be honest, but I usually will see those messages.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Mike, Jackie, Brandon, Michael. Hit them up on apparently LinkedIn. That's where we're all at. Super appreciative of you all. This is the coming back moment for the podcast. I appreciate all the time and contributions you gave back to the community. It's really great. I highly encourage the community to reach out to them. They run their own communities, have their own software, have their own books. I mean, they're constant contributors back into this ecosystem. So please connect with them, follow them. We're going to follow up with their information as well. But thank you all for coming. All right, in the next 10 minutes, because we never stop here. We just go page after page and Zoom thing after Zoom thing over and over and over again. We got back-to-back sponsor demos. We're going to do a 5-minute demo, Jetpack workflow. We're going to show you a little bit of the new stuff we're working on. And then we have a 5-minute video or demo from OnPay. So this is a time for you to kind of get a snapshot. What's the latest that's been going on in this 5 minutes? Sometimes as we invest in our journey as owners, we're like, oh, do I want a 30-minute call or an hour call? Do I want to watch this demo? Well, the answer to that is spend 5 minutes, right? Spend 5 minutes. So that said, I'm going to put on different hats here as I do. I'm going to go from host to Jetpacker and kind of walk you through some of the latest stuff we've built in Jetpack in just a couple minutes. And then I'm going to pass the ball over to Valerie to talk about OnPay. There's a really amazing platform, a unique offer they're going to talk about. So let me go ahead and flip over into the wonderful world of Jetpack Workflow. Now, as a reminder, Jetpack Workflow is here to help you standardize the work that you have going on in your firm. So everything is standardized through what we call templates. Anytime you create a template for any service you do, you can then automate that template. So I can grab my clients here, I can assign out the template and set the recurrence, set the frequency, set the owner, set the schedule, and assign it out. And then I can use places like the project table to track everything, all the active work that's going on in the firm. Right. So I have all of my processes assigned out to all my clients with all their steps, with the due date, with the assignee, with the next person up, when it was last edited, anything else I want to drop in here in just a couple minutes. Right. But I actually want to walk through a new feature that we put out just last quarter around customizing these tables. So literally any work schedule you have, any kind of client layout that you have, can be translated into our system and allow you to answer questions in a very, very flexible way. And I'm talking about this new concept called custom fields. So custom fields can be added into our system and they can be prescribed to any client attribute. So I can come into here and build out the client industry. We just had Brandon on, and I know he works with real estate. Mike was on, he works with nonprofits. So I can come into here and I can create different fields that need to be on the client record. You also see location, fiscal year, what general ledger are they using. I could even put in login information if I need to access that quickly. Folks were asking me, can I put in proposal status? Yes, anything you need to track on the client record, you can actually surface in this view. And not only that, is that you can create the table from this view. So we've worked with so many firms over our last decade, and we would see a project management tool, and then we would see the secret client tracker, right? We'd see the secret client tracker, and it would have things like how much budgeted time should be in a given month, what pod or team is working on this client. All of these are customizable in the client table, and then I can drag and drop or add them into the system. So let's just say I want to make sure I know client complexity. I want to know the industry. I want to know where they're located. Well, I can drop that into my client table and build it out. Everything is right here. I can also filter by these attributes as well. So if I wanted to zero in, well, show me all my clients with, I don't know, e-commerce. Great. I'm going to go ahead and update it. And here are my e-commerce clients. And from here, I can assign them out a specific e-commerce template or follow-up or whatever I created. And all this is on the client table. But where this really starts to unlock for a lot of the firms we work with is inside of your project screen, you can customize this to be exactly how you want to operate your firm. And here's what I mean by this. So not only can you drag and drop and rearrange columns and move things around, but you can also come into here and take those custom fields and drop them into your project table. So let's say that industry is really important. Maybe I want to batch my client work by industry. I want to
Hey, David, you've muted yourself, I think.
Oh, sorry. How long have I been muted? 4 minutes?
No, just a couple of seconds here.
All right. Thanks for that, Dee. No worries. Well, I'm just wrapping up here, and what I was going to mention was this project view is now totally customizable, and I can see all the work that's going on. But even more important is if I wanted to zero in on, show me all of my work for Pod A, or I want to see all of my work for my e-commerce clients that is due this month or due this week. I can come into here and I can customize this view literally to anything that you might want to see. So it's a very fast system for making sure that you're tracking everything on a very granular, specific level, making sure that due dates and deadlines are not missed. There's so much more I can unpack in the software. Just want to highlight this new flexible table feature. You can go to jetpackworkflow.com to learn more, schedule a demo, start a free trial, and appreciate you all listening. With that said, again, I'm going to put on, like I said, I got a couple different hats today. I actually want to hand it over to our silver sponsor, OnPay. Valerie is here from OnPay. And man, have they been a pleasure to work with. But OnPay helps accountants and bookkeepers offer modern payroll, benefits, and HR solutions to clients with easy-to-use software and expert help every step away. They're going to show us a quick demo. And while they do, let us know if you'd like to connect with Valerie and welcome our first sponsor from OnPay. So let's go ahead and make sure that Valerie's all set up. We're gonna level you up here, Valerie, so you can have total mission control over the presentation. So you should be set now in panel mode. There you are. Hey, good to see you.
Hello, hello. Okay, we were trying to figure that out behind the scenes here, so let me reshare my stuff. Let me get back into the right screen. I was sending an email like, eek, I can't do it. Okay.
All good.
Hey, everybody. All right. There we are. And are you seeing it, David?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Okay, here we go. Hi, I am Valerie from OnPay, and thank you for spending a few minutes with me this morning. For those who are new to OnPay or perhaps haven't heard of us before, we're a full-service payroll company out of Atlanta, Georgia, and we have built a partner program for accountants and bookkeepers to help you offer great payroll experiences to your clients. If you are somebody who already uses OnPay, please drop a message in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. We give you the option to manage your clients' payroll on their behalf, or you can refer your clients, or you can do kind of a combination of those things with us. And I'm going to walk you through 3 quick things that accountants and bookkeepers love about OnPay. So let's dive right in. Number 1, we offer easy, stress-free payroll. So let's start with that because we know that payroll has to just work for everyone, right? When I click into my run payroll screen, when I'm in a client's file, everything I need is right there on one screen. The employees, their hours, their pay types, their deductions, contributions, tax overrides, the works. I can just click onto a worker if I need to adjust something. We can pay W-2 employees and 1099 contractors through OnPay. And it's just simple to pop something open, configure the check, do a quick tax override. Off-cycle pay runs, bonuses, fringe benefits, all of that is very easy and included in the subscription. We don't charge extra for off-cycle checks and things like that. When I move forward to review the payroll, I can drill into the details, see what the company costs look like, the taxes, the deduction setup, and we are really known for our ability to configure the settings to fit a variety of different types of industry needs. So if you have agriculture clients that need 943 payroll, if you have restaurants that need tip setup, churches, nonprofits, we can really set things up at the company level and the worker level to get payroll right every time. We offer 2 and 4-day direct deposit. We give you until 11:30 Eastern to submit that payroll, so a little bit of extra time. OnPay will pull the funds, sweep the taxes, and handle all of the federal, state, and local tax payments and form filings for you and your clients with an accuracy guarantee. And we also include multi-state filing. You don't have to upgrade or do add-ons for that. If you're doing this work manually today, all of the tax payments and tax notice handling and corrections and all of those things, we can take that kind of work off of your plate. I can review my alerts, do all of that. When everything's good, I hit submit and ta-da, it's fast, it's reliable, and we really give you peace of mind that the payroll is running the way that it should for you and your clients with a ton of clarity along the way. Okay, told you this was going to be fast. Number 2 reason accountants and bookkeepers love OnPay is our integrations, especially with the general ledgers. We will sync your client's payroll with QuickBooks Online, Xero, and we have an IAF export for desktop. And you can map up the wages, the taxes, the liabilities exactly how you'd like. We have detail and summary options. We can break things out by department or general ledger account. It's really easy to configure. And it actually goes over and the journal entries match up beautifully in the bank feed. It's probably something I could spend 5 more minutes talking about. It was one of the first things I knew about OnPay before I joined the company was that this all worked really well. So you'll have fewer journal entries, fewer adjustments, and just a much smoother reconciliation process with us. We also can go beyond payroll with other types of integrations. So 401k, workers' comp, state registrations, those types of tools out there integrate. And we really pride ourselves in not having like a billion integrations. We have ones that work really seamlessly. We've also built in HR and admin tools to really help you with those pieces or help your clients if they're managing their team inside of OnPay, hiring, onboarding, PTO, that kind of stuff. And if your clients are exploring benefits, we actually have an in-house team in Atlanta of licensed brokers that will work to help them find a plan, and they focus completely on small businesses, which I think makes a big difference. All right, and the third thing is something I can't actually demo or show you screenshots of. It's our support team. It's our team. When you bring clients onto OnPay, we will pair you with a dedicated onboarding coordinator. Every client gets full service onboarding with us. They'll get everything set up. They'll work with you for the employee profiles and any year-to-date data. If you're switching mid-quarter, of course, everything you need to get set up for a January 1st start date. We really pride ourselves in making that transition easy. And our support team ongoing is really easy to reach. We offer phone, chat, and email support and really try and make your life easier. We even have a dedicated partner team to work with you directly. And I am very proud that we get rave reviews from our partners and clients alike. We believe that easy software combined with powerful integrations and exceptional customer service really makes the difference with payroll. As we know, payroll is deeply personal and sometimes things go wrong, and it's all about how you handle those. So we want to help you focus on what you do best and take that worry off your plate. All right, I think I've got like 1 minute left here, maybe, or 30 seconds. I don't know. One more quick note. If you're not familiar with our pricing model, it's $49 a month, $6 per worker paid per month. And we actually have a really awesome offer going on right now just for our accounting professionals. You always get volume discounts and revenue share options with us, but we have this limited time offer where you can earn up to $10,000 for switching clients with us. If you switch 3, you get 1,000. 200 for each thereafter, which is pretty exciting stuff. Whew! I hope I wasn't talking too fast there, David.
No, you're good. And look, there's a lot of great interest and questions. I encourage you to reach out to Valerie. She's very accessible. The OnPay team, everything that we've done with them, they've been very accessible. So please take this opportunity to explore the platform. And thanks so much, Valerie, for jumping on board, being a part of this summit, and having OnPay be a part of it. Again, we'll be following up with the offer. I encourage everybody to take a look, dive in. Really heard good things about the OnPay platform. And Valerie, thanks for hopping on today.
Yeah, and I'm taking some screenshots of the chat questions because I think we're all going to leave this chat. But again, if
Yeah.
there's anything that sparks any ideas for you here, or you want to ask us some more detailed questions about your needs, happy to help. And I hope we can chat more. Thank you again for having me.
Sounds good. Yep. And Dee's on it with the questions as well. So we'll be following up. But the link to the next session is in the chat. We're going to dive into our next lightning talk. It's a fast and furious day. We have so much to get through. Valerie, thanks again. I will see everybody in the
Thank
next
you.
session.